drive through India and you are sure to see this. These are India's trucks. Most goods in India are transported by truck. And as India's economy has grown, trucks have become central to how the country does business. But since they were introduced to India in the 1940s, these trucks have become more than just commercial transportation. They've become a canvas. This is truck art.
In commerce, building and industry, we're part of our way of life, specialized for fetching and carrying the goods and services needed by a nation on the move.
We are about these colors, about these symbols, about these fun elements, about our superstitions, about the evil eye, all that stuff. And these things still matter to us.
Truck art is an Indian art form. It's a sort of mashup of visual motifs from Indian culture, language, beliefs, and history. This assortment of color schemes, typefaces, and symbols is on display all over India's highways, making long drives through India a sort of artistic experience.
हमारा ये इसमें रहना खाना पीना सब कुछ हमारा रहना ये घर है हमारा मान के चलो हम तो इसको एक घर मान के चलते हैं.
They're also very personal. An expression of individual tastes, values, and beliefs of those who spend thousands of hours behind the wheel. I went to India and drove all over the country looking for these trucks. I wanted to understand what's behind this peculiar art form. What motivates these drivers and artists to turn something as functional and mundane as freight trucks into a spectacle of culture and beauty? This truck. It first came to British India during World War II. The original brand of the truck was Bedford, and they were originally designed to carry military cargo. But after the British left, they stuck around. This same basic design inspired many of the commercial trucks that are on the road today in India. There are now millions of these trucks on Indian roads. For the millions of drivers who spend weeks away from home, the truck is their workspace, their home, their place of worship as they traverse India's vast distances.
Because you know that a truck guy is actually spending a phenomenal amount of time on the road. So for him, this has to be his comfort zone, his kind of space where he's comfortable and he can probably just, feel at peace.
There's a whole industry dedicated to this art form. Painters, many from the northern state of Punjab, have become experts at the style.
शुरुआत तो बहुत देर हो गया आज से 20 साल पहले की जी. हाँ छाँव सा देख के ऐसा है. मुझे मानी इधर ही था हमारा छोटे होते हैं. मेरे डैडी काम कर रहे थे जद्दीपुर से. हमारा काम यही है.
Punjab is one of the main centers of truck art. They have a distinctive style that is hard for others to replicate.
I think the calligraphy that they use, the way that they write what they write, and the fact that it has come so beautifully to become a 3D expression. I've had a bunch of students try to replicate it. It's not the easiest thing to do.
मैं लिखना ही पसंद करता हूँ. मैं कलर तो मुझे करना ही नहीं आता जी, बस लिखना ही आता है.
Over the years, truck art has naturally developed a set of unspoken style rules. First, you have color. Truck art almost always features bright, saturated colors. You rarely see darks or neutrals.
There'll be a red on a blue, there will be a yellow that is a constant. And if you look at the color palette that you usually use, you'll hardly find any black except for shadow and for highlighting certain areas so that they seem like they're elevated.
Next, you've got the typeface, or the font, which for prominent words is always put in English and rendered in this blocky 3D style, always hand-painted.
Most of the messages you see on the back of these trucks are messages of safety.
The most common counsel on the back of trucks admonishes drivers to honk their horn. For truckers whose massive rigs have high blind spots, it's a good safety practice to honk your horn if you plan to pass a truck on the road. But the car horn is also just how people communicate on the road here. On the roads and in the cities, the car horn is a part of the landscape.
Yeah, they really take this horn mantra really seriously here.
Another important message you see is use dipper at night.
The dipper is kind of the low beam headlights, and because these trucks are so up high, the high beam headlights go straight into their eyes and make it very dangerous.
And finally, you've got the iconography, the symbols that adorn these vehicles.
Every truck is totally unique. A lot of the markings are functional, so you'll have the number of the truck, you'll have different identifiers for the business, but then the driver gets a say in the way it looks. And so because of that, you get this medley of different styles. Some are religious, some are national, but a lot of these are symbols that the drivers just think look cool. There's this eagle I keep seeing on all of the trucks, and I've asked a dozen of these truck drivers whose trucks don this eagle, and they can't really tell me what it means or what it's for. They just know that the other guy had it and it looks really cool. And so it's good to remember that while a lot of this has deep symbolism, some of it is just a cool trend, and people are expressing themselves with their truck in whatever way they want.
Some experts think that this eagle might represent speed and precision. But the truckers in India's northern state of Punjab think of this as a falcon, alluding to their religious history.
बाज का मतलब गुरु गोविंद सिंह की जो बाज होता है वो ऐसे बना रहे हैं सभी.
A major theme here is religious symbolism. These truck drivers will put religious symbols of different gods or gurus or important figures, and there's a reason behind this. Truck driving is not a safe profession. The truck drivers here are telling me that sometimes they drive 24 hours straight without stopping. This is dangerous stuff. And these religious symbols can give them a sense of peace and safety while they're away from their families and on the road for days or weeks on end.
They also have the cow and a calf, which is about fertility, it's about prosperity. These are symbols that will be there in almost all of them.
A well-decorated truck can mean a sense of pride for these drivers.
To see that's dressed like a bride, they really put lots of flowers, balloons, the works, all of it.
Truck art can also represent a sense of community and common culture for these workers who are constantly moving around. Truck art is an amalgam of different influences, old and new, religious and secular, meaningful and trendy. It's an unlikely fusion of economics and art, business and aesthetic. Trucks are the core of India's economy, but they're also where some of the most beautiful art lives and moves.
I had such a good time exploring the history and culture of truck art. And with these Border series, we're always trying to focus on different aspects of art and culture. If you're interested in learning more about Indian art forms, you should check out the Asian Temples episode of a documentary series called Sacred Spaces on CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is a subscription streaming service that offers thousands of documentaries and nonfiction titles from some of the world's best filmmakers. And you can get unlimited access starting at $2.99 a month. But because you're a Borders fan, you can get the first 31 days for free if you go to curiositystream.com/borders and enter the promo code BORDERS. CuriosityStream is the exclusive sponsor of this season of Borders. We're very grateful to them. They don't influence our editorial process or the videos we make, but they do support us and make Borders possible. So thank you, CuriosityStream. Definitely go check them out. And I will see you next week for the final episode of Borders.